Okay, strap yourself in for some Empire Strikes Back movie trivia. Here are some cool things to know. The top 10. Here we go, guys. Now, number 1. This is freaky. Now, guys, we're talking about The Empire Strikes Back, a movie back in the 80s. Did you know this about this movie? Rogue Squadron is the only rebel squadron that does not use a color as its call sign. The reason for this was revealed several decades after the initial release of the movie. The squadron takes its name from the call sign Rogue One, used by Jyn Erso's team in Rogue One 2016. 2016? And yet the story and some small little element from way back decades ago then appears in 2016. I mean, talk about the attention to detail for Star Wars, man. It's mightily impressive. Here's number 2. George Lucas was so impressed by Frank Oz's performance as Yoda, he spent thousands of dollars on an advertising campaign to try and get him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Lucas's campaign ultimately failed because it was felt that a puppeteer wasn't an actor. Lucas felt this wasn't fair to Oz, who honestly didn't care. Do we think that's fair? I mean, it's still the guy, as we all have probably seen. You see that you've got Frank Oz performing at the puppet himself, but it's still his voice. You know? I mean, can you compare that to Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder? I know it's still a human versus a puppet. Well, it's one of the greatest iconic voices of all time, don't we think? Well, I think he should have got an Oscar nomination for that. Number 3. The shots where Luke uses his Jedi powers to retrieve his lightsaber from a distance were achieved by having Mark Hamill throw the lightsaber away and then running the film in reverse. Now that's a cool one. If you can spot that, guys, the next time you watch it now, maybe you'll see a bit of, if you just keep an eye on it very, very close. You never know. All right, here we go. The next one. When Han Solo is about to be frozen, Princess Leia says, "I love you." In the original script, Han was supposed to say, "Just remember that, Leia, because I'll be back." But at the time of filming, Harrison Ford wasn't entirely certain he did want to come back for a third movie. And that's why they decided to change it, because just in case Harrison did want to come back. Thank God Harrison Ford came back. Star Wars is not the same without really any of the characters, but I'd say mostly Han Solo. Do we agree on that? I think you'd have to go with Han Solo being the coolest badass. Anyway, first of all. And then second of all, the best. All right, anyway, next. Oh, this is so cool. Carrie Fisher stood on a box for many of her scenes with Harrison Ford in order to make up for the height difference and have her appear in the frame with him. Carrie Fisher, 5'1", was almost a foot shorter than Harrison Ford, 6 foot. Whoa, man, 5'1". It's guys, even I was going through this trivia. Even I didn't know this until I was going through this, but wow, 5'1". I mean, that's almost small people size, isn't it? I think it's 4'10" or 4'11" is small people size. Wow, that's not far away. That's not far away. Okay. The sound of Vader's meditation chamber opening is reportedly a recording of a whole block of Alcatraz cell doors slamming shut. Wow, that's so cool, guys. So his meditation chamber is a recording of a whole block of Alcatraz cell doors slamming shut. See if you can notice that the next time. Okay, the next one. Here we go, again with Harrison. Back to the madman. Okay. So it's kind of a run into the last one. Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die at the end of the movie. But he didn't want to play the character again, so instead of killing off the character, Lucas had a different idea and opted for Han to be frozen in the carbonite in case Ford had a change of heart, and agreed to return for Return of the Jedi. So again, it's a kind of a continuation of the last one, guys, but that was a great idea. But there you go, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? Harrison Ford actually dictated all those toys we used to get as kids, or just remembering those scenes. That's because of Harrison Ford. It's unreal. Okay, here's an interesting one. In Leia Brackett's original draft of the script, Darth Vader was not Luke's father. The character of Anakin Skywalker actually appeared in this movie as a Force spirit to train Luke. Anakin's characterization was later split into the characters of Yoda, and the Force Spirit technique was used to allow Obi-Wan to appear in the movie. Whoa. That's freaky. Whew. Did you know this? Mark Hamill's wife gave birth to their first son, Nathan Hamill, early one morning, and Mark went straight from the hospital to shooting. This was the day they filmed the shots of Luke climbing out of his snow speeder before it's crushed by the Imperial Walker, and Hamill broke his thumb during the stunt. Man, he looks fresh as a daisy in that scene. You wouldn't have thought now that guy would have been in a would have been in hospital having a kid on the way. And the last one. The sound of Vader's helmet being lowered onto his body was the sound of someone putting their hand over a vacuum tube while it was sucking in dust. When you put your socks on this morning, guys, did you ever think it could be as simple as a vacuum tube sucking in dust? Whoa. Anyway, guys, that's the top 10 of Empire Strikes Back, which I've heard. And guys, if you've checked it out, I've done some shorts as well. I've even created a playlist. I've got over 80 Did You Knows on Empire Strikes Back and other episodes. Check them out, and they're all linked back to this one. Cheers, bye-bye.
Peter. Walsh.